Welcome to a new playthrough of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. Uh, if you haven't watched the last series, you don't know what Dungeon Crawl is, I suggest you go back and watch at least the first video. It's just 5 minutes long of my Series 1 playthrough. And the next video or two, if you're totally new to Crawl, the next video or two I play a lot slower than I'm going to in the rest of this series, explaining a little bit more of the basic fundamentals. And I'm not going to spoil, whether I won or lost in that last series, in case you are watching these out of order. But it's time to start a new one. And I'm not really sure what I want to play. I don't have any strong, burning desire to play a merfolk right now or whatever. There's some things I'm better at and some things I'm worse at, and some easy characters and some hard characters. So I'm thinking I'm just going to let the game pick a random character for me. And even if it's a really bad character, I'm going to try playing it and see how it goes. Demon Spawn Monk. That's pretty good, honestly. I'll take it, I just played a Demon Spawn, though. Oh, whatever. It was random. Oh. Sure. I guess I should have thought about that. So you guys are going to get to see another Demon Spawn, but they're fun, so it's fine. So monks start out with their main combat option being like barehanded, fist, punching guys, basically, no weapons. And unarmed combat is a very strong, it's surprisingly strong compared to weapon skills. In the end game, like having a very high unarmed combat is generally like even better than having very high, oh, this is cute. This is like all the races you can play as or something, I guess. But anyway, unarmed combat is generally better than being good with a weapon, but it costs a lot of experience to get to that point. So it's sort of more expensive, and you can't diversify as much into other stuff. And they also monks get a bonus in piety with the first god they worship. So you can sort of get started on that sooner. You have a big advantage once you find a god. Most characters start at 0 stars, and we get started at 2 stars of piety. And we have reasonable aptitudes for this, like our invocations, which is using god abilities, is very high, one of the highest in the game, although I think not the highest. Which means that, when we... Why is he not coming in? Are you, like, too stupid? Do you not... Yeah, he got stuck on the other side of the wall. There's some bug where monsters just can't figure out that they can go like this. Usually they can, but sometimes they can't, and I don't know why. So, and we're going to be a Demon Spawn again, which is, I maybe could have just re-rolled, but like I said, you get different Demon Spawn mutations every time, and so that, each Demon Spawn is kind of like a new race anyway. Ringmail? What am I wearing? I'll take Ringmail, sure. So unlike our last character, we're going to be wearing much heavier armor, at least for the moment. Because it's not going to interfere with our spell casting, because we don't know any spells, and it doesn't interfere with our stealth, because, like, we have a little, but we're not ready yet to commit to a stealth-based game plan. And we're unlikely to do so, but, things could happen. Another speak of the devil, we got Night Stalker again. Just like last game. So, who knows, maybe we could get some stealth going eventually. Night Stalker by itself it's more flexible than just being stealth-based. It's kind of good in a lot of scenarios, so it doesn't necessarily mean we'll be going stealth, but it's an argument for doing so. A ring, sure. Ring of Loudness, great, whatever. So it's the opposite of stealth. It makes enemies hear you better, but we're not very stealthy right now, anyway. And I don't really want to random read some scrolls just yet, so I'm just going to leave it on for the moment. And eventually it would be nice to find Remove Curse and get rid of it. So now we finished the floor, let's try it out. Found Fear, We found Identify and a Scroll of Enchant Armor. Okay, well, so we're stuck with this Ring of Loudness. So that's sort of a risk that you take by putting on unidentified jewelry in the beginning of the game when you don't have Remove Curse yet, is you might get something cursed that you wish you could take off and you can't. But usually it's not such a big deal, and the reward is greater than the risk. The stuff that you put on that you don't want is usually not such a big deal, and you can get some quite powerful stuff like a ring of, +6 protection or something like that. It gives you 6 more armor. So I'm going to be putting a lot of points into dexterity this game. Strength and dexterity, Okawaru, yeah, I'll take it, man. That would be like practically my #1 god choice. Strength and dexterity both increase your melee damage. Strength, I think, a little bit more. But dexterity is good for helping you dodge, and strength is good for helping you wear heavy armor. Right now we don't really have any heavy armor, so I don't need to get strength, but you always want to be able to dodge. So I'm going to start with dexterity and maybe get some strength, maybe get some int, sort of depends on where things go. But, sorry, I should have had this up while I was chatting, I guess. Here's Okawaru's lore. He's just sort of like an honorable combat god, I guess. Like he likes gladiatorial combat. You fight tough guys and you beat them, and he's impressed, and that's what he likes. And he gives you some powerful buffs that you can activate. They cost piety, and you need to get some piety before you can use them at all. But they don't cost a lot of piety, so you can use them fairly freely. I think I liked it better in Ringmail, actually. So Chain is a little bit too heavy for us at the moment. We might wear it later. So the main thing not Rue, we're done with Rue. That was last game. The main thing Okawaru is going to give us is... Oh! I forgot, we're a monk. We're already at level 2 pips. That's great. Normally you have to sort of slog and kill guys for a while before you get to 1 pip of piety to get heroism. But a Dungeon 2 Okawaru altar as a monk is just great, because heroism is a tremendous, gigantic buff in the early game. It basically gives you temporarily +5 to all of your combat-related skills. There's all your non-magic skills, so you get unarmed combat goes up from like 5 to 10. Fighting goes up to 8. Dodging from 2 to 7. Like it's really good. And as your skills get higher, like the difference between 22 and 27 is not so big as the difference between like 0 and 5. But we got it so early that we're going to get a ton of use out of it. And I'm an advocate of using heroism a lot because, like a lot of gods, Okawaru piety comes fairly freely. Like, I mean, here's an adder. I'm going to use heroism for this adder, right? And I killed him in 1 hit. Like, did I need heroism? Maybe not. But, he could have poisoned me. I could have gotten some unlucky rolls, and I would have been dead. And all it really cost me was some piety, which I'll get back pretty soon. And it doesn't cost even a lot of piety. Okay, so we wore some more cursed stuff, but at least it's not like negative. It's just a +0 armor that I can't take off yet. So at the end of this floor, we'll probably have some more scrolls to identify. And hopefully one of them will be Remove Curse. If not, it's not a big deal. Nope, magic mapping. All right, let's keep going. So this is a much easier character to play than the last one I played, the Demon Spawn Enchanter. Enchanter, you just have to play more carefully in general. And furthermore, Demon Spawn aren't that great at it. They're okay, I'm sure. But playing as a monk, a lot of what we're going to be doing is just get into a kind of okay position for combat and then hold down tab. So tactically, we're not going anywhere near Sigmund this game. He's quite a dangerous early unique. And, you know, he has a scythe. He can reach you from 2 squares away, and he has some powerful spells, notably confusion and invisibility, that make it like really hard for you to fight back against him. So we just don't want any of that. I have some potions to identify, I guess. So I mean, I'm just going to be playing this character a lot faster, probably. You know, when something like this happens, I have to slow down and look around, because there's a lot of orcs for this early in the game, really. And if I just use heroism, like, though, it should be no problem, I think. Right, nobody out there has a pole arm or anything. Yeah, so it's just one monster at a time. It's a lot of orcs, but with heroism, you know, we're level 4, but we're fighting, like, I don't know, a level 7 or level 8 character here, probably. Heroism is that big a buff this early. We hardly got a scratch in this whole combat. Whereas without heroism, like, I don't even know if we would have come out of that alive. We would have retreated without heroism, you know, honestly. I would not have taken that fight. And so, arguably, I shouldn't have taken it with heroism either, because it's safer to just not fight. But I was pretty sure I would be alright. And I was, so yeah, that's another bad cursed scroll. But fortunately, we found a scroll of remove curse. And so, I guess I'll remove... So that's a ring of teleportation, which is good and bad. You can evoke it to teleport, like as if it were a scroll of teleportation, if you're good at evocations. But also, while you're wearing it, it can randomly teleport you towards monsters. So it can take you into some pretty nasty spots. So I'm glad to have that off this early. And I also don't really want to wear this leather or this robe or this chain. I could maybe have... No, I couldn't try anything on because the leather was cursed. I'm going to drop this and put on this. I'm not going to put on the Ring of Teleportation. Even it's uncursed now. I can take it on or put it off as much as I want. But I just... The Book of Burglary again. Goodness. Okay. Well, I mean, we certainly can learn some spells. Right now, I think our priority is still just unarmed combat. So notice I'm like training nothing but unarmed combat. You really, when your main way to kill guys is a Draconian Ghost, and he has ranged spells. I don't know if Draconian Ghosts are as bad as they used to be. I think they may have taken away the negative energy breath the Draconians had. Yeah, he would have hit me by now with it if he could. So Draconian Ghost used to be just absolutely a nightmare because they could breathe like a bolt of draining at you. Because Draconians, while they're alive, get a breath weapon. Most Draconians. There's like yellow Draconians and red Draconians and so on. And you don't know what kind you're going to be until you get to level 7. 6? I think it's 7. So, and you know, you get to breathe fire or something if you're a red Draconian. But Undead Draconian got like they got Bolt of Draining, which is really way stronger than the Draconian breaths they had when they were alive. And they just used like a lot of it when they were ghosts. And it looks like they took that away, so Draconian Ghosts are no longer just like instant death, which is nice. And like instant death you can't even run from because it's ranged. And, you know, with heroism, could we have fought that ghost? I don't know. Maybe. Heroism's pretty strong. But I have to say probably not. It wouldn't be comfortable. We might be able to win, but it would not be a fight that I would be happy to be in. Another scroll of remove curse, huh? So I have this shiny chainmail that I'm not trying on because if it is cursed and it's bad, I don't want to spend any remove curse on it yet. I sort of want to have multiple cursed items on if possible, or at least multiple items that could be cursed before I start trying stuff on. so that later in the game you have more than enough remove curse. But this early, I don't really. Okay, so like this is a fight I shouldn't have just charged into again. So we're just gonna use heroism, and hopefully Okawaru is gonna have our backs. All right, rugged brown scales. That's a great scales mutation. You get less armor than many scales mutations, but you get more hit points, which is like a very precious commodity. Since it applies to everything, even stuff that like doesn't care about armor. Where's the Orc Priest? Back there. Yeah, so Okawaru is helping out a lot, and we're not really building up a store of Okawaru piety. We're actually, we started at 2 stars and we're at 1 now. So we're slightly net negative on piety, but that's fine. Later we'll get to a point where we're more independent and can handle ourselves a little bit more without Okawaru. What? It's just a null. Famous last words. I checked. He didn't have a ranged weapon or anything, but he still can hurt, so I should have treated that null with more respect. But this looks like about the end of Dungeon 3, so let's just go find some stairs and head down to 4. How long have I been playing anyway? 15 minutes. Easy. Easy game. If you watched the first series, you may remember that like the first video I think ended on Dungeon 1 still, and it was like over half an hour long. And like I said, I don't normally play that slowly. I was slowing to explain stuff a lot. And I'm still doing that now, but this character plays a lot faster, and I feel like I've sort of gotten through the preliminaries. Powered by death? Sure. So that we can play a little more quickly now. I think it might be reasonable for me to actually... Yeah, they have a halberd, so that's a pretty strong weapon. Is there a hallway I can get to? Up here. But I mean, they have a halberd. It's not going to help that much. Anyway, I was thinking it might be quite plausible for me to get to Lair in the first video. Is something that I would like to be able to do. Could just pop heroism again. Which, if I'm going to fight these gnolls, I'm popping heroism regardless. The question is just whether I fight them here or somewhere else or nowhere at all. There's nowhere really very suitable, is there? Up here is sort of the best we can do. Kind of an awkward layout. But it looks like it worked out all right. Yeah, so there. We didn't take any damage. I'm gonna train. Oh, unarmed. Okay, it's not really at 12. It's at like 7. So I'm gonna broaden out a little bit. I'm gonna focus on unarmed combat, but also get some fighting and dodging. So here's a Kiku altar. I think if you Kiku is killing the human right now, poisoning it and turning it into a zombie to demonstrate, like, hey, that's what you get if you go Kiku. Sure, whatever, Kiku. And I think if you pray to Kiku, you might actually get that as a friendly, that zombie as an ally when you join. I'm not sure, though. So we gained, one of our demon spawn mutations is powered by death. Anytime we kill something, we get a temporary buff that gives us better regen. And it stacks, so if we're standing amid a pile of corpses, we regen an awful lot for a little while. There have been some changes to it recently. It was buffed quite a bit a few months ago, and I think that's the state it's still in. This sky beast has become invisible. See, I shouldn't be doing this. You know, I'm just continuing to tab him, and like it worked. I killed him, but I don't know. So players have a lot of trouble with the early game. They say the early game is just too boring. I just, you know, hold down tab until I get lucky, and most of my characters die, but eventually I get one who's so strong he makes it, and then I can get to the fun part of the game. And I kind of think the beginning is not boring at all. It's hard, and they just don't want to admit it. It's hard, and it's challenging, and you have to focus a lot. Boring is the last thing I would say about the early game. Sometimes the mid-game is boring, or the late game, because your character is just so much stronger, you don't really have to think most of the time. Oh, apparently even when you kill zombies, you get powered by death to go up. That's cool. I didn't know that. What was that? Did I guess just a bunch of imps. All right. And so, you know, it's hard to stay focused sometimes. And I certainly am not always, you know, the paragon of virtue here, paying total attention. You know, I try. But like, there was a bit a while ago with, I guess, what was it, that Sky Beast, where I just wasn't paying enough attention. I was in too much of a hurry, holding down tab, basically. And it put me into a bad spot where I had to spend some resources that I really shouldn't have had to spend. And that's fine. I mean, it was fine that I had to spend a potion of curing. You get a lot of those, and spending it to get out of a bad spot is what you want to do. But you know, sometimes if you're not paying enough attention, you get into a bad spot where curing is not going to be enough to save you. Most of the time, really, curing is not enough to get you out of a bad spot, honestly. Yeah, let's just do heroism. This orc is... Ogres, rather, are a bit of a threat. And, you know, did we need it? Maybe not. We killed an ogre earlier without heroism, but it was kind of a close thing, so I'd rather just be safe than sorry. So, you know, you have to get used to using your resources. It sort of starts to feel like, and that was the problem I had last game, near where we got to the end, was that I was not, everything seemed like sort of easy enough, and I started to forget I had any buttons other than tab on my keyboard. And so I was trying to tab some stuff, and it got hairy a little bit faster than I expected. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil whether, I'm going to try not to spoil whether I won or lost. You know, whether that was where I died or just a tough spot on the way out of the dungeon with the Orb of Zot. All right, so I'm about to do the same thing with the stupid Sky Beast. I'm just going to use heroism here to finish him off. If I'd used it at the beginning of the fight, I'd be a lot more comfortable, but here it is, you know. An Okwaru doesn't do anything very interesting at 2, 3, or 4 stars. I think maybe he starts to give you gifts at 4, I don't know. But the main thing you want Okwaru for is heroism, which is at 1 star, and kind of secondarily for finesse, which you get at 5 stars. So we can use his piety pretty freely here, because there's not any important breakpoints that we're likely to accidentally slip below. Like, our last game we had Rue, and you don't really lose Rue piety. You just lose Drain when you use his abilities. You know, wow, that was real fast. Heroism, oh my gosh, what have I done? I gotta get rid of this jelly. No, I'm dead. I don't remember what I thought was so important to describe. But there you go. I just didn't use my heroism here, and I underestimated the jelly, and I got corroded, And, you know, that's a really, really big combat penalty that I didn't take seriously enough. And the centaur was probably shooting arrows at me. Like, I just wasn't paying much attention. I was talking about something. Who knows what. You know, if I hadn't been talking, would I have figured it out? Maybe. It's sort of a double-edged sword, I'm finding, this recording business, because sometimes it makes me stop and actually explain, hey, there's this scary thing on the screen, and it makes me think more about it. Whereas other times it sort of distracts me because I was talking about something else, and I go into autopilot on a fight where maybe I should not have done that. So we had other. Oops. Well, there goes our morgue, huh? We had other stuff available that might have helped us out. So I'm not gonna cut the video there. Am I? I was thinking to make just this playlist be the next set of characters until I find somebody halfway decent. And then we'll follow him until he dies or wins, and then the next series will be like... I don't want to cut out games where I just died early, because that's a big part of Crawl, and I want you to see those too. I'm just not sure how to structure the video playlists. So I think I'm gonna... But if I do cut the video, how can I title this one? You know, I can't really call it the Demon Spawn Monk playlist unless I play another Demon Spawn Monk, which I don't really want to do. And if I just have a playlist that's 1 episode long of Demon Spawn Monk, I think I'll just call it Series 2. And I'll give each video a different title. Yeah, okay, that seems fine. Anyway, there you go. You get to hear me thinking about how to play real-life games like YouTube Video Manager, as well as Crawl. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.